What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Star Wars Visions is hands down one of my favorite Star Wars series, definitely in the top 3 up there with Clone Wars. It is amazing and it is great. If you have not watched it and you're a Star Wars fan, you are seriously doing yourself a massive disservice. Today, I want to go through every single episode and give my rating, because every single episode here in Season 1 has a little something to offer. And like I said, all right, this is one of my favorite series, and you know, I just always love to go back and a lot of these episodes, like after all this time, they still hit me in the feels, man. They are only 10 or 15 minute episodes, maybe 20 at the max, but they are able to do such a good job at capturing your emotions, such a good job at connecting you to the characters within that short period of time. Oh my goodness, it's so good. I'm sorry, it's just so good. This is one of the best Star Wars series ever. And maybe it's because I'm a weeb and a Star Wars fan, and this series is just a perfect mesh of the two, you know, anime, Star Wars, animation. Like, it just all comes together with that beautiful music. It's some of the best music in general. But let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go right on in to episode 1. Episode 1 has a sketch style animation, that like sketch art. I personally am not a big fan of that art style, but this is a good episode. It's enjoyable and a good introduction into just how different this series is gonna be in the Star Wars universe. This is right off the bat. It kind of gets you in that mood, and it lets you realize, lets you know that this is not gonna be normal Star Wars. We're gonna switch it up. We're gonna be very creative. We're gonna change everything you know about Star Wars and make something truly unique. One of the beautiful things of Star Wars Visions is just how the animation changes, how the music changes, how it's free from the usual Star Wars lore to really go off the rails sometimes. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and that's the beauty of it, right? So in Visions episode 1, it's called The Duel. It's great, all right? It's kind of like that Western classic type, you know, lone wanderer running into a town and, oh, I don't want to save anybody, but then ends up, you know, having to get involved. Sometimes you have to get involved. It's really cool, very creative with the lightsabers. I remember very specifically that in this episode, I was recently roasting the Star Wars Rebels where they were flying away with the gosh dang lightsabers and they looked like stupid helicopters. I remember very specifically because when this came out, they had like a weird umbrella lightsaber, but they made it look so much cooler. It's just so much better here. I don't know if I'm just biased and cringe, but like, it's just better, okay? It's just, they do it right. Even though I'm not a big fan of that sketch style animation, it is still an enjoyable episode. And like I said, really introduces you into what Star Wars Visions is gonna be. I give this one a 7 out of 10. Very good, but it'll get better, ladies and gentlemen. Moving on to episode 2, it's called Tatooine Rhapsody, and this just immediately does a little bit of a 180. Unlike episode 1 being a little more serious, a little more, you know, dark, this instantly changes the gears into that, almost into that slice of life anime type animation and storyline. It's simple, it's kind of wholesome. It's just about some kids wanting to start a band on Tatooine. Like, you know, you don't really think about that in Star Wars, right? But it's, you know, they want to start a band. They run into some troubles with the Hutt clan, and you know, they want to take one of their band members and they gotta go save them and all that stuff. It's simple, it's silly, but it's done well. And like I said, again, it'll show you a little bit of how creative Visions is gonna be and how creative it is, because it goes from one extreme to the other and it works. There is a little bit of action, but it's really just that, you know, more silly Disney-esque type action. It is not as cheesy or garbagey, I suppose, as a lot of the Disney animation, but don't expect anything serious. It's honestly just a simple, wholesome storyline. I'm also gonna give this one a 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it, but you obviously have to go in with the expectations that it's really just more of a wholesome kind of slice of life anime, you know? It's more just simple, wholesome. You're not gonna get a ton of serious, deep story in this one, but it is enjoyable. 7 out of 10. Moving on to episode 3, I know that this one's controversial among the Star Wars Visions fans. Me personally, I did enjoy this one. It's called The Twins. It's not the deepest or most intense story, but it's really the first episode in Star Wars Visions that I really started to enjoy, where I really started to pick up for me, and I really started to say, okay, this is going somewhere. The Twins is basically a story about two Sith twins. One of them is obviously, I don't want to be the dark side. I want to join the rebels and blah, blah, blah. And it's not too horrible. The voice acting is decent. At times, it does, get a little cheesy or exaggerated, but I could tell that the voice actress and the voice actor really had some passion behind it. Even if it did get a little cheesy at times, I appreciated that voice acting. It was pretty good, and you could tell there was heart behind it. Listen, y'all, this is really the first episode where it started to get a little bit goofy, all right? I mean, it started to get a little silly, but I think in a good way. I swear General Grievous would be extremely proud of this episode. Gosh dang, this girl is holding 6 lightsabers. And she got a lightsaber in her shoe? Like, what the heck? She does an epic kick and a lightsaber comes out of her gosh dang foot? Bro, maybe General Grievous wrote this episode with the amount of gosh dang lightsabers that there is in this episode. The amount of ways that they use the lightsaber in weird, crazy ways. And lightsaber whips and lightsaber beams. It gets crazy, y'all, but it's enjoyable, and I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was fun. It's ridiculous, but it's fun. It has those over-the-top anime moments. It really starts to lean into the anime here. The over-the-top anime moments that are just epic action. Visually, it's great. Good music, and, it just has that anime hype, right? It has that anime hype. So for this one, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Very enjoyable. And don't worry with the ratings. I'm not going to go 0.1, 0.2, just full number or 0.5. I'm going to give this one a 7.5. It is enjoyable. It's good. But obviously, it could be better in the sense of the story. I understand that they only have 10, 15, 20 minutes. But considering what some of the episodes are going to do here later in the series, I'm going to give it a 7.5. It's good, but it's still going to get better. Ladies and gentlemen, we reach the point where I realized this is going to be one of my favorite series. Episode 4, The Village Bride. The animation, beautiful. The music, fire! I'm telling you, this is the best music in all of Visions. This is the best music in maybe like almost all of Star Wars. It's such good music. It's that music that just hits you in the heart, in the soul, And when you combine it with the visuals, ooh! The Village Bride is such a good little episode. Only about 15 minutes long. But they do such a good job at capturing the world, capturing the story, making you like the characters, and making you understand the world that we're in. It's such a good story about sacrifice and hope and Jedi, and oh my goodness, guys. This is my second favorite episode in the series. It is so good, so enjoyable. I'm telling you guys, this was the point where I realized that Star Wars Visions is honestly something special and honestly has a lot to offer in terms of just Star Wars media and in terms of just good shows, good media, good stuff. It's basically a little story about a little tribal village that's being harassed and bullied by a tribal gang that was able to reactivate some of the old battle droids, right? And they've been, extorting them and making them basically give up one of their villagers as a sacrifice, It's just such a good story. I'm telling y'all, go watch it. I don't want to spoil these episodes too much, but I'm going to give you just a general overview, It's good. Go watch it. There's epic, like stereotypical anime action scenes, but in Star Wars context with lightsabers. Go watch it, y'all. Episode 4, I'm giving this one a 10 out of 10. This is my second favorite episode in all the Star Wars Visions. Super good, super enjoyable. Go watch this. This is the pinnacle of Star Wars Visions. This is what I want Star Wars to be like, This is the type of stories, the type of characters that I want to see more of. Episode 4, The Village Bride, 10 out of 10, no doubt in my mind. Go listen to that music. It's playing in the background right now, and oh, that music just makes me feel every single time. I ain't even gonna lie. It makes me feel every single time. It's so good, y'all. All right. I'm not gonna overhype it because that, Moving on. Episode 5, The Ninth Jedi it's honest, it's my third favorite episode in all Star Wars Visions here, season 1, and it's really enjoyable. It's good story, good characters. Hey, dude, Cara is super cute, all right? I call me a simp, but she's gosh dang cute, all right? It's wholesome. It's a cool little storyline, interesting. Like I said before, I really love the concepts that they put into Star Wars Visions. I love how creative they get. And, you know, a lot of Star Wars fans originally believed that lightsabers would change color depending on the user, right? Depending on the type of connection that the Jedi has to the Force, that it would be a different color. But later on, they said that it's kind of that, but it's not really that. I really like this episode of Star Wars Visions because they took that and made it super literal. The lightsaber will literally change colors in your hand depending on who's holding it and depending on the connection they have to the Force. It's really cool and really creative. It's something that all Star Wars fans have thought for a long time anyways, you know? It's a really cool story. It's just about basically how lightsabers basically gone extinct, and there's an old blacksmith that's able to make lightsabers. The Sith infiltrate and are trying to take the lightsabers, but it's just super cool. The designs are really cool on the characters. Like I said, Cara's really cute, okay? But what I really love about this particular episode is it's something we don't always see. You know what I mean when I say the bad guys always got better fits? How come the villains always got better fits? Am I right? For once, the cool, epic, dark-looking uniforms and cool, epic, like, just fits in general were worn by the good guy, all right? Hey, we get one dub. Good guys get one win. But it's super cool. I love this episode. It's really cool. Just how they really focus on the lightsaber lore and how they're made. And it's just a cool little story. I like it. This is going to be a 9 out of 10. Very cool and creative. Super enjoyable. Maybe I'm just a simp. I don't know. But I like it. Okay? Okay. We're moving on to episode 6. It's called Toby T0B1. I hated this episode. It's not good. I do not like it. It is my least favorite episode in the entire series. It is just not good. It is literally like Pinocchio or some like 1960s Disney animation. I do not like it. It's like an episode made for like 6-year-olds, 5-year-olds. I didn't enjoy it. Anybody who's watched this channel before knows that I'm not a fan of that like really kid animation, you know, the animation that's clearly made for like 6-year-olds, 5-year-olds. And this has that. It has its moment where it's trying to be like simple and cute, and I'm sure some people will be fine with that and enjoy it. Like I said, I like Slice of Life. I was fine with the episode 2 of the Tatooine Rhapsody, where it's just that Slice of Life kind of wholesome. They just want to make a band. But this one just goes over the line for me, where it's just, all right, it's too much. Like, it's too cheesy. It's too Mary Poppins, Snow White. Like, I don't like it. This one I'm gonna give a 3 out of 10 because, I mean, it earns its points because it's creative, it's unique in a sense, right? It's just that side that I'm not a big fan of. But this is why I like Star Wars Visions, because they get creative. It doesn't always hit for you, but you're at least gonna like a couple of these episodes. There's something for everybody. It's mixing everything up. So even though I'm not a big fan of episode 6 here, Toby, I'm pretty sure that's what they're going for. I'm sure someone will enjoy it, but for me, it's gonna be a 3 out of 10. I didn't like it. It was really random. It didn't make sense for me, and it's just, Moving on. Episode 7. I really enjoyed episode 7. It's called The Elder. Very enjoyable. And this one in particular was the episode that really made me feel that Star Wars Visions had that middle series syndrome. Now, what is middle series syndrome? It's the feeling you get like when you walk in on a friend in the middle of watching a long series, right? A very long series. And you feel like, oh, dang, I caught this series in the middle of it. What happened at the beginning? I want to keep watching it. But there's no beginning or end. This is all there is, you know? It really feels like an episode out of a very long Star Wars series. And it's enjoyable, and I really wish that I would be able to know more of this story. I want to know, how did we get to this point? I want to know more. It was enjoyable, but it was too short, and like I said, I really want to know more, so that's a good thing, but it also suffers from that same good thing. It's good. It's that little story of a Jedi Padawan and a master going to a little village, and they encounter this old Sith Lord or old Sith user of some type, and they get into a little kerfuffle, let's say that. But it's good. It's a cool little story. It focuses on the relationship of that Padawan and Master. Very cool and very unique. I enjoyed it. I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10 just because the action is on point. The story in that short period of time, they are able to establish that Padawan-Master relationship, and you do get attached to those characters very well. So I'm going to give Episode 7, The Elder, an 8 out of 10. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, episode 8, Lop and Ocho. Haha, funny, Ocho is 8 in Spanish. This, ladies and gentlemen, this is my favorite episode in all Star Wars Visions. And it makes me want to cry every single time. I cry every time, okay? This is such a good episode, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, in 20 minutes, they are able to establish the world, establish the characters, get you connected to those characters, and just immediately suck you into that world. Immediately get you immersed into that universe and into that storyline. It is so good. The animation is beautiful and unique. It feels like a high quality anime, you know, like it's just so good. It's a story about family and the bonds of family, and oh my goodness, they do such a good job in 20 minutes. Look, I'm not saying if they had more time, this would be an amazing movie or series. Like, they packed a movie into 20 minutes. Imagine a 2-hour movie and they packed it into 20 minutes. Of course, it's gonna have some shortcomings because it's only 20 minutes, but for what it is, this is my favorite episode in all of Star Wars Visions, and one of my favorite pieces of Star Wars media in general. It is so good, y'all. I don't know if I'm gosh dang like being cringe right now. I don't know if people agree with me or not, but this is one of my favorite no, my bad. This is my favorite episode. This is my favorite episode. It's so good, y'all. The story of family, the story of gosh dang bonds and division and the problems, and the Empire comes in, and it's so good. It's so good. I don't want to spoil anything about it. I don't want to spoil anything about it if you haven't watched it. It's the super basic premise is just the Empire comes in, and it's the choice of, should we join the Empire because they provide stability and some type of order, or do we fight them because of, well, it's the Empire. They're not the nicest guys around, and they will bring war and bring problems. This is the episode that I really wish continued. I really wish it had a whole series, and I'm still waiting, Disney. Make this into a movie or make this into a whole series. I think a movie would be fire. 2-hour movie of Lop and Ocho, I'm down. And it has great voice acting as well. The voice acting of Lop is amazing. The voice acting of Ocho, very good and passionate. It does get a little cheesy at times, but it's good. It's good. It's a beautiful story. I'm telling you, in 20 minutes, they do such a good job. Great animation, great music, great story, great characters. 10 out of 10 for episode 8. 10 out of 10. Nah, you know what? 11 out of 10. Because it just goes beyond. All right, it's so good. 11 out of 10 for gosh dang Lop and Ocho. Best episode in Star Wars Visions. 11 out of 10. But in all seriousness, go watch it. I'm not joking. Okay, maybe finish this video, but you better watch it. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the last episode, episode 9. It's called a Kakiri. I don't know how to pronounce it. This episode is not bad, okay? Episode 9 is about a royal conflict, about Jedi and a princess trying to reclaim the throne after the Sith took over. It's good. It's enjoyable. It's not bad. I don't know if it's because it's right after Lop and Ocho, which is my favorite episode, that it just falls a little short. You know, it's about 10 minutes long. It's not bad, but it suffers from being in the shadow of episode 8. It's fun, enjoyable, and unique, and it is a little different in the sense where, you know, it's cool to see, okay, this Jedi actually fell to the dark side, and they actually fell to the dark side. It wasn't, it ain't playing. He ain't coming back. But it's just, it suffers from being after Lop and Ocho. So it's not a bad episode by any means, but it's not too amazing in the first place, and suffering from being after Lop and Ocho. I'm gonna give this one a 6.5 out of 10. Enjoyable, but it just feels like a weak end to the series after La Pinocho. And honestly, this should have been episode 8 and La Pinocho should have been episode 9 to finish super strong and to finish with just, yep, we're dropping this banger at the end, you know, like we're ending with a banger. But it's okay. It's okay. I'm sorry for those episode 9 enjoyers, you know, like I'm sorry, but I'm giving it a 6.5 out of 10. That's not a disrespect. It's still okay. It's still decent and enjoyable, but 6 out of 10, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what your favorite episode of Star Wars Visions is. Let me know if you've watched it. If you haven't, you gotta get on that. But let me know what your favorite episode is. Do you agree or disagree with me? Let's have a little discussion in the comments. I always try to reply to comments. I'm always looking. So, hey, let's have a little talk about Star Wars Visions. What's your favorite episode? And what is your least favorite episode as well? Ladies and gentlemen, that is every single episode of Star Wars Visions Season 1 ranked. This has been and probably will always be one of my favorite pieces of Star Wars media. I mean, it's always going to be top 3. It's just so good. I highly recommend it if you haven't given it a watch. This is seriously, all Star Wars fans have to have at least watch Star Wars Visions. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so very much for being here. I appreciate each and every single one of y'all. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Please consider subscribing as well as following me on Twitch. All those links are going to be down in the description. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so very much. And until next time, I'll see you.